Welcome to another episode of Inner Peace, Better Health. I am your host, Arick, once again, and today we have an extraordinary guest, Debra. Debra's journey is nothing short of inspiring. From rocking the stage as a new wave singer in Boston to become a dedicated student of the Bible in Israel, and now a passionate advocate for healing through mindfulness, meditation, psalms, and essential oils. Debra, it's an honor to have you here.
Well, likewise, Eric, I appreciate your invitation to come onto your podcast.
Yeah. Debra, your life has been a fascinating journey. Can you share how you first discovered mindfulness, meditation, and its impact on your life?
Yes, very, very much so. I came from a broken home, so to speak, where my father left me when I was 12, so I didn't have a good parent influence in my life. And that created scars in my emotions and my soul, my mind that I carried with me into adulthood. My mother
Yeah.
was verbally abusive, and I was bullied in school. So I had a lot of fear that was stuffed inside of me, because the outside of the person can appear to be tough and ready, but inside I was a mess. And
Yeah.
it wasn't until I got into a car accident in my 30s that I started having flashbacks of being sexually abused by my stepfather.
Wow.
And I wasn't able to stuff that back in, which apparently I had done when I was 13. So I had to go to counseling. And that's when I started to, in a safe environment with a trusted therapist, open up and start the healing process within. And that's when, on the spiritual journey of enlightenment, I started to connect things that I had lost the connection of in practicing yoga. Yoga literally is a way of stopping the chatter in your mind. All these voices from my parents of negativity that played over and over in my head. I needed to be cleansed from all of that negativity because it resulted in blocked energy in my body. So I started to explore yoga, simple yoga, because I was an adult, with the practice of essential oils. So the combination of the two worked wonderfully for me because essential oils by nature, if they're a therapeutic grade, can promote emotional release of negative
Um,
stored memories.
yeah.
And so I am an advocate now for the miracle healings that are possible for somebody that wants to pursue growth, personal growth, and healing with yoga and meditation, mindfulness, which I use the Psalms, and essential oils. It's a combination of these things in a practice for me.
Wow. So, what specific challenges did you face when you first started, and how did you overcome them?
Well, the challenges of somebody that has been abused is to find somebody that's trustworthy. As a teenager, I was not aware of the abuse that had happened to me. I just
Yeah.
figured that's life, right? If you grow up in that environment, you think that's it. And I wasn't fortunate to live in royalty, or even that's dysfunctional. So there comes a point in your life where you have to believe that there's just more to life than what you've been through. If you feel like you have been cheated out of your childhood, which I felt like I was, there's a child within each one of us that needs to continue to grow into adulthood and beyond in the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the challenges are finding somebody that you can relate to, because there's so many different religions out there and so many different gurus and so many different methods of practicing healing and mindfulness. So the challenge was trying to find somebody that ascribed to my belief system, and it took a lot of perseverance, a lot of trusting in my higher power, which I call God, to help me find the spiritual path that I was destined to walk upon. And it just took decades to piece that all together. I mean, I just turned 70. So it's not an overnight fortunate thing, because the second part of the challenge is after you do get connected with a group in meditation practice and growth, spiritual growth, some people have different levels of how much they want to grow. And I believe that I can be a better version of my future self tomorrow, but it requires work, which means we're going to always be changing. And a lot of people, especially at my age, they don't want to grow anymore. They're happy with the status quo. That's as good as it gets, and they don't want to grow anymore. But if I'm one of the ones that always wants to do better tomorrow than I did today, and to stay in today, to be life's fullest, but to learn how to grow means in Hebrew to make tshuva. It's a path that we take for growth, but it requires keen looking within. And if you're broken, you don't want to look within because it's too painful. And that's how, back to my childhood or teens, I got into drug addiction because I didn't have the tools to look inside of myself. I couldn't do that. I could not do that by myself because I hadn't been taught from my parents about wisdom and understanding and all of those things that are found in a spiritual journey.
Yeah. That's really incredible how mindfulness can transform our lives, especially when we face such profound challenges. You mentioned using Psalms in your meditation practice. How do you integrate these ancient texts into modern mindfulness routine?
Okay, that's a good question, and I appreciate it. Now, I'll use Psalm 27 for an example. It's whether by way of a mystical secret or through an elaboration of the Midrash. Psalm 27 is understood to have powerful apotropaic. It's a hard word to say. Apotropaic, which means averts evil influences or bad luck, and also fosters protective power. So it's appropriate for us to invoke that power during a season or a time of self-reflection. So we must be willing to peel away the mask of confidence and complacency that we present to the world and scrutinize our own flaws and vulnerability. With God's help, we repair ourselves to become a better version of ourselves. So, but we have to have a willingness to want to do that. It's not always a comfortable way of growing. So once you are willing to take the step into the spiritual realm of looking within, then you want to think about questions. What does returning to your future self look like right now? And what wisdom can you impart to your future self? So we take an excerpt from the Psalm, for example, a meditation mindfulness chant. Horeini Adonai Darchecha, show me your path. And we, like a mantra, say that under our breath. And
Mm.
the leader in the circle would ask us to repeat these things. Loving kindness, may I be at ease, may I be at peace, may I be present, may I be secure on my path. Hareini Adonai Darchecha. And we say these things because the body listens to everything we say to ourselves. So we need to cleanse our thoughts in our body with breath work to get rid of those negative thoughts about ourselves or others that are not true, to make mental health something that starts within, so you change your outlook about yourself over time, and that changes your outlook on everybody around you, and you walk around as a luminary full of light and love instead of hate and comparing yourself to somebody else. A lot of people do that, at least in this American culture, women especially. They look at some other woman that's got more than she has, or looks better than she has, or is skinnier than she is, and hates that person. It's jealousy. And that's
Yeah.
because the person that's feeling that way doesn't feel good about themselves. So this mental health approach to healing in yoga with essential oils and mantra meditation over time, and it's a lifetime work. We always have to take time for self-reflection because we live in an imperfect world, and
Yeah.
when we say these mantras, we're trying to achieve perfection. Not that we are perfect, because we can never be perfect, but
Of
we're
course.
reaching toward perfection. And that cultivates a much healthier environment for us to live in.
Yeah. Wow, that's really wonderful, and it's incredible. It's so incredible. The timeless wisdom of Psalms can indeed provide a deep sense of peace and connection. Essential oils have been quite popular in recent years. How did you get started with them, and what role do they play in your healing practices?
Okay. I had to leave public high school teaching because of PTSD triggers, post traumatic stress disorder. People can get PTSD for different reasons. A lot of our soldiers come back with it, and unfortunately, 22% of the soldiers that have come back from the war commit suicide. So this is a tragic thing, and a lot of healers are realizing there's a great need for yoga centers for military with combination of essential oils. So after I had to leave teaching because the kids in the classrooms were so disrespectful and abusive. I didn't graduate from college till I was 50 years old. So I had a mindset that the kids would have some kind of respect for the teachers. But in this day and age, the kids will say, and when I say kids, I mean teenagers. I was teaching high school. The teachers were receiving negative messages from the kids. Discipline was out the window because the parents are either not there or working, and there's a lot of problem with gangs in a lot of these public high schools.
Yeah.
I ended up, after 10 years of teaching, I had to leave because of PTSD triggers. They triggered things in me that I had experienced as a child with trauma, and I didn't realize what was happening to me because I had gone to counseling and thought I was fixed. But,
Hmm.
if you have trauma, it's a lifetime healing process to stay away from the dysfunction that comes from that. And I hadn't realized it wasn't until my assistant principal took me into his office and noted, he said he'd been watching my behavior, and he said, "You have PTSD triggers." And so he wanted me to take antidepressants to cope with the students because he said a lot of his teachers do. But I didn't want to take drugs to keep my job. So I quit and moved to Florida and enrolled in aromatherapy school because I had an interest in essential oils. And that through the course of learning about aromatherapy, I realized in combination with yoga, which I also started at the same time in Florida, I started the journey of healing, inner healing, mental healing, emotional healing. It was such a blessing to find that. I had the mindset of being an aromatherapist, but after going through the training for that, I discovered that I would have to take a lengthy medical history of clients that I would be working, to help. And there was too much negativity from the patients. I wasn't the right person to do that job. So I left with certification in aromatherapy, but I just use it for myself because I don't want to listen to people telling me all their tragedy. You have to be a special kind of a counselor to want to do that. I instead am migrating toward music for healing, which is now becoming popular in a lot of countries under the World Health Organization umbrella, and they're calling it social prescribing,
Yeah.
where doctors will prescribe non-medicinal group activities in the community, which will help their patients in the healing process. So I have a singing circle that I've just created in
Yeah.
my community to invite people who want to sing because there's a lot of health benefits to singing.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Deborah, for showing your incredible journey and insights with us today. And your story is really a testament to the power of resilience,
Yeah.
faith, and holistic healing.
Yes.
And to our listeners, I hope you find this conversation enlightening and inspiring as I did. Remember, inner peace and better health are always within your reach. Take a moment today to practice mindfulness, explore the healing power of essential oils, and connect with the wisdom of the Psalms. Until next time, stay mindful and stay well.